Good evening. Less than 100 hours to go in this transfer window. Let's start at Arsenal. Bad day on the pitch. What about off it? Will Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain be at the club come September the 1st? Well, he started this afternoon's game at Liverpool. Just 2 days after we brought you the news, he had turned down a new contract. He was subbed 17 minutes into the second half. Oxlade-Chamberlain, you'll remember, is into the final year of his current deal.
Can you just clarify one thing? So, will Oxlade-Chamberlain be allowed to leave this week?
That's a kind of question I can answer after a game like that. I think we are focused on the game. What will happen on the transfer market in the next 3-4 days, I don't know.
Could be such an eventful few days at the Emirates, couldn't it? Now, staying with Arsenal, and another player who is into the last 12 months of his contract, Alexis Sanchez, also started at Anfield. That was his first appearance of the season. He too went off at the same time as Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, one man who didn't start was the defender Shkodran Mustafi. He was an unused substitute today. Inter Milan want the German international on loan with an option to buy. Sky in Italy are claiming Mustafi has agreed to join them. Wenger was asked if Mustafi would remain at the club, and he gave a similar response to when he was asked about Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's simply an answer he cannot give after a defeat like the one they suffered at Anfield. Now, staying with Arsenal and forward, Lucas Perez remains at the club for now, but there's still an expectation his return to Deportivo La Coruña will be completed before Thursday. Deportivo boss Pepe Mel says he's been told by the club's president that Perez will be joining. Now, defender Kieran Gibbs, well, he could be on his way out soon as well. Talks are continuing over personal terms after Watford agreed a fee with Arsenal. I'm told there's still some work to do on this one before any deal can be finalised. There could be 1 in and 2 out at Watford. They are listening to offers for winger Isaac Success, with Hull City his likely destination. Success, you'll remember, joined Watford from Granada for a then club record £12.5 million. Now, another departure at Watford could be Jerome Sinclair. Talks continue with Sheffield United over a loan move, though we are told a few other Championship clubs are interested. To the latest on the saga that is Diego Costa, Chelsea have said today nothing has changed in his situation, but could today's opponents provide a solution? Everton boss Ronald Koeman wants a striker. What chance Costa coming to Goodison Park?
No, but I don't speak about names, about players. It's the media who's talking about Costa or other players. We are looking and we do our job, and hopefully we will arrange it for next week.
I think Koeman wants Costa. Just throw it out there. What about departures at Everton? Could Kevin Morales' days at the club be numbered? He was not in the 18-man squad today and has just played 13 minutes in the league this season.
Morales was out because he is struggling to deal with moments in a season and with disappointments. And everybody can be disappointed, but I expect from everybody to be part of the team. And if somebody is showing that he's disappointed and his attitude is not the same, then I make decisions.
Is he on his way out?
Sorry?
Is he on his way out?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. What about Ross Barkley? Well, we know that Chelsea and Tottenham are interested, and it may have been a good time for talks at Stamford Bridge today. But Koeman hasn't ruled out Barkley staying, as he confirmed there are still no offers on the table for him. Now, another potential arrival at Chelsea is Leicester's Danny Drinkwater. Injury has prevented the midfielder from featuring at all this season. He's been a long-term target for Chelsea, and it's thought he is valued at £40 million. We understand Drinkwater would like to move to Stamford Bridge. From a Leicester player who hasn't played this season to one who has completed 90 minutes in every Premier League game so far. Manager Craig Shakespeare says there's no news at present on winger Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez handed in a transfer request 12 weeks ago, and only Roma have come in for him. His preference is to stay in the Premier League. Staying with Leicester City, and could the forward Islam Slimani be on the move? Last week, Watford boss Marco Silva said he was interested. We're told today Monaco are expected to make an offer for the player, but that offer is dependent on one very big factor indeed. And that big factor His name is Kylian Mbappe. Monaco will go in for Slimani once they finalise the sale of Mbappe to Paris Saint-Germain. This one is complicated, though, given financial fair play rules. Mbappe could join on loan first with an agreement to buy next summer. The fee being discussed is £140 million. To Liverpool we go now. Big win over Arsenal today, and all achieved without you-know-who, Philippe Coutinho. The Brazilian still wants to go to Barcelona. Barcelona still wants him. Liverpool, though, are still standing firm. Coutinho is not for sale. Let's see if Barca go back in one more time before the window closes.
The transfer window closes this week. The club have been very clear. Are you absolutely confident by the time the window shuts, nothing will have changed and he will still be your player?
After a game like this, I'm very confident, but it's not about confidence in this situation. It's about what the owner said. In this moment, he's not available for us. But how you can imagine, if he would have been part of this game, probably would have not been worse.
Learnt that they have pulled out of a deal to sign Sporting Lisbon midfielder William Carvalho. West Ham decided to walk away after Sporting refused to lower their £40 million valuation. West Ham also have concerns about Carvalho's fitness. Now, a senior source at the club said he just got too expensive and you have to say no sometimes. Also, he's not trained for 3 weeks. He has done no pre-season training, so he might have needed 4 to 6 weeks to be ready to play for us. So, West Ham and Carvalho deal off. News of a departure now from West Ham United, and the winger Robert Snodgrass has joined Aston Villa on a season-long loan. Sunderland and Birmingham were also interested. We understand Villa have the option to make the move permanent. The deal may pave the way for striker Ross McCormack to move to Sunderland. To the soap opera now, that is Diego Costa. The striker is still striking. Costa is still in Brazil and he's still refusing to come back to Chelsea. He's still, though, getting picked to play with his mates. These are the pictures of Costa out in Brazil. He only wants to return to Atletico Madrid, but they don't want to pay the £50 million asking price. And what's more, they are banned from registering players until January.
One player who isn't training still is Diego Costa. What's the latest situation there?
The same, and no news.
Is it frustrating for you as a manager to be in this situation with Diego?
No, absolutely.
Short and sweet from Antonio Conte on Diego Costa. Now, you may have noticed Everton appear to be keeping an eye on the Costa situation. Boss Ronald Koeman wants a striker and was asked if it was possible to bring in Costa on loan.
I don't know. I said always a warm welcome for every good player, and he's a good player.
Sounds to me like Ronald Koeman is interested. What about departures at Goodison Park? Well, time is running out for midfielder Ross Barkely to get a move. He's into the final year of his contract. He's not going to sign a new one, and he's currently out injured. Chelsea and Tottenham are interested, but could he yet play a part for Everton this season?
If Ross is staying, and I'm pleased if he stays, because he's one more good player in the team. And okay, that's a decision by the board, what we need to talk about.
Yeah, could be a busy end to the window for Everton. To Manchester City we go now, and there could be big changes in their defensive ranks before the window closes. Inter Milan are edging closer to a loan deal for Eliakim Mangala. City's preference is to sell Mangala, but it's thought the player only wants to go to Inter. Mangala has not played under Pep Guardiola, having been on loan at Valencia last season. City, you remember, bought him from Porto for £32 million 3 years ago and want to get this one over the line quickly so that they can focus on other targets. And those other targets include the West Brom defender Johnny Evans. City are expected to go back in with an improved bid early next week after having had an £18 million offer rejected. West Brom don't want to sell, don't need to sell, but will sell if they receive an acceptable amount.
You have to be a little bit careful, but in another way, you'd want him to get that game time if he can get that game time.
Has there been any other contact from Man City? Have they upped their bid at all?
Again, John and the directors would be dealing with that. At present, I think there's been no contact for the last couple of days. So, Johnny's a West Bromwich Albion player. We're hoping that we can get this situation resolved and move on.
It's very interesting how Tony Pulis' responses regarding Evans have subtly changed. 2 weeks ago, the stance was not for sale. That became every player has his price. And now he simply hopes that Johnny Evans stays at the Hawthorns. Now, staying with West Brom, and they are looking for defensive reinforcements themselves, whether Evans stays or goes. But it seems their interest in Tottenham's Kevin Wimmer has cooled, and it appears it could be a straight fight between Crystal Palace and Stoke City.
I made an inquiry, that's my understanding. We'll wait and see in terms of the response to that. But as we stand, obviously he's a Tottenham player and they dictate what they feel they need to happen in terms of his future, and obviously the player has a view on that as well.
Yeah, it could be a busy end to the window at Tottenham. Wimmer seemingly on his way out. Could keeper Michel Vorm follow him? Well, we are told Crystal Palace are interested. Palace boss Frank de Boer has made no secret of his desire to bring in a keeper, but would not be drawn on any names. Now, one man who has left Tottenham is the defender Cameron Carter-Vickers. He has joined Sheffield United on a season-long loan. More from Sheffield United a bit later, but could Carter-Vickers' departure accelerate an incoming at Tottenham Hotspur? Well, we are told they are back in talks for this man. He is the Estudiantes defender Juan Foyth. He's 19 years old and he's been capped 12 times by Argentina's under-20s. The deal had looked off earlier in the window as Tottenham felt the asking price was simply too high. Another player edging closer to a move to Tottenham is the PSG defender Serge Aurier. The French club won £23 million for the player. Tottenham boss Mauricio Pochettino wasn't giving too much away on specific names, but did say Tottenham will be active.
We are working hard, yes, to try to strengthen the squad, to bring a few players more, and yes, big effort from our chairman Daniel and Steve, our chief scout, trying to find the right profile. Yes, we are working hard, big effort from the club to trying to strengthen our squad. I say 4 players before. Okay, 1 keeper plus 4.